What you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Sheriff John Brown come for you?
According to CNN, 55,400 people were sold by police in 2012. 67,000 officers were sold that same year. That's more than 100,000 families being affected every single year. That's also potential for that same amount of news stories. Which of these famous stories have you most heard about? Ever heard of Rodney King? What about Michael Brown? We all remember these cases, and the thing you probably remember is a newscast or a picture that was on the news. Do you remember any video of their families? Heartbroken, maybe? These are impactful. The media chooses what the public sees, and in cases of police brutality, they only play to your emotions even more. In several of these cases, media outlets try to frame these assaults as racially biased. African Americans are more likely to be stopped and die at the hands of the police, which is where racial bias may apply. But after the suspect has been stopped, a new study says that racial disparity disappears and blacks face no greater risk of injury or death. This is just one study, and yes, there are bad racist cops. But the media ultimately chooses what we see, and in these cases, the left-wing news sources such as CNN generally portray the situation as racially biased and attack police.
In the two articles we have found, we wanted to show the bias between them on the same story. The two articles are from the incident between Michael Brown and the Missouri cop. There is one specific piece of text in both articles that shows a significant difference of bias. Fox News stated, when Wilson was coming off another case in a neighborhood on August 9th, he ordered Brown and his friend, Darian Johnson, to stop walking in the middle of the road because they were obstructing traffic. CNN reported something intriguingly different, saying, Darian Johnson told CNN that he and Brown were walking in the middle of the street when the white male officer pulled up and told them to get off the sidewalk. As you can tell, both accounts are told differently, CNN siding more with the victims and Fox News siding more with the police. It's perfectly clear evidence to support how police brutality isn't racially biased.
This article is an example of how CNN is anti-police. This article is more so for entertainment and isn't news. CNN is playing to the preferences of the readers and therefore getting money and publicity from articles like this. Police brutality is a serious topic, and even if a cop messes up while doing his job, he and his family lives can be ruined because of how the media portrays.
There's a possibility that the media portrays the Ferguson case, along with other cases of police brutality, as racially biased. Photos used to portray the black victims of police shootings possibly expose the media bias that they are portrayed as criminals. On the other hand, photos used to portray police officers in most cases create images of professionalism or innocence. Regardless of who the person's true identity is, imagine seeing these images. If you were to Google Michael Brown, the victim of the Ferguson case, these are the images that would pop up.
Cause I'm a teenager with a little bit of gold and a pager, searching my car, looking for the product, thinking every nigga selling narcotics. You rather see.
And if you were to Google Darren Wilson, the officer of the Ferguson case, you would see these images. These images. If you were uninformed of the case, and you were to see these images, what opinions would they lead you to believe?
I was able to do some research on some current and former officers of the law to get their idea and views on police brutality. I found a retired officer, Peter Pranzo, who retired after spending 21 years in the field and winning over 60 awards while serving. Pranzo claims that police brutality is unfair to the police force because they are given seconds to make a life or death decision, while after the event has taken place, the rest of the world and the media is given months and sometimes years to debate the issue as being good or bad. Peter Pranzo also states that anything an officer does is solely for justice.
To find out more about what police officers thought about racially biased news and police brutality, we interviewed a police officer.
We interviewed Commander Mike Wright, but he declined being on camera, but we did get him to answer a few questions. The first question we asked was, what is a police officer's main job? He responded, patrol officers work 10-hour shifts and on a normal basis respond to anywhere between 7 to 15 calls for service ranging and variety as well as any other activity that they self-initiate, such as traffic stops, suspicious people, business checks, and so on. The second question we asked was, how do you think people view the police? He responded, we are very lucky in Lexington that we have a community that supports us, and we work hard to maintain the level of trust that it takes to create a positive atmosphere. The third question that we asked was, what is a standard stop and search procedure and how can it go bad? He responded, this is a very broad and could encompass a lot of avenues. There are laws about search as well as stop and frisk. There are also varying rules when dealing with pedestrians, vehicles, drivers, passengers, and such. Basically, we have the right to stop anyone we believe is committing, has committed, or is about to commit a crime. Then there are several factors that go into whether we can frisk, pat down for weapons, or search them and their belongings. We need information regarding weapons or the fear of weapons to increase our tactics and or more proof of a crime that develops during the investigative stop.
Due to the freedom of speech, we are not going to be able to eradicate media bias in itself. But we do have some solutions so that you yourself can get the truth. First off, do your own research. This allows you to develop your own understanding of the topic and have your own opinions. Second, look at a variety of news sources and see what each of them say and how each of them differ. This will show you the bias between each of them and allow for a more complete picture.